Why, hello.
Hello and welcome to Valeera, the Shadow of the Uncrowned Storm Talk. Just a short dribble. I'm kind of going to dribble on a little bit in this one. I did Valeera's video for the original Storm Talk when she first came out. Didn't like it. Decided I'm going to scrap it. Skip her. Then...
Can we do something? Anything?
I basically decided to kind of rework Storm Talk and how I'm going to do it. I'd heard some information about 2.0 coming, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to hold off for a little while, let a couple of characters hit up, and I'm going to hit Storm Talk back up with a new format when 2.0 comes out. So, here's my new format.
Don't wait too long.
I'm going to try not to go as in-depth as I did. I'm going to try to keep this a much shorter example. Or, this one's going to be slightly longer, but I'm going to try to keep this a much shorter series. Yeah, so just to kind of throw out information about where I'm planning on going with this. I'm not planning on ever throwing out some in-depth, deep meta, this will get you to the top of the leaderboard shit. I'm going to talk about some of the talents, maybe throw out some ideas about some combos from putting the talents together, and yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the ways the character works and some of the ways the character doesn't work. And that's about it. So, if you're into that, I hope this finds you, and I will love to have you commenting on my videos. If you're not, that's cool. Watch the video, don't watch the video.
Bored rogues tend to get
I'm good with either. But the video's here if you're ever interested in a new idea. So, previously I'd go over talking about the traits and the abilities. I'm going to do that in-game. The same with the skins. I used to kind of go in with the skins, but with the new rework model for the skins, yeah, like some of them are pretty interesting and cool, but it's just kind of lost its flair a little bit. They're not as interesting, in my opinion, as, say, they used to be. So, let's just go ahead and jump in and talk about this character. Okay, so Valeera is a rather interesting assassin. Her passive ability is Vanish. It's an activatable ability in which she is able to enter Permacloak. This has no time limit. You move a little bit faster with it on than with it off. And it's basically just slightly better than the Permacloak that Nova and Zeratul already have. While within Vanish, you have access to 3 separate abilities as when you're visible.
Good idea.
The first ability, Sinister Strike, Short Dash, adds a combo point. We'll get to combo points shortly. Blade Fury is her second ability. Just a small AoE. Within Stealth, you have Ambush, Cheap Shot, and Garrote. Ambush, just to simplify, does a lot of damage. Cheap Shot does a little bit of damage and a stun. And Garrote does a little bit of damage and a little bit of a dot and is a silence. However, as you sit here and attack, you'll gain these combo points. They will not fade until, or as long as you're in combat. The moment you walk out of combat, they kind of start to fade. As you can see, you lose all of them at once.
Fine by me.
So, our combo points brings us to Eviscerate. As you can see, Eviscerate becomes more powerful the more combo points you have. Simple enough. Very easy kit. With the ability to activate Vanish, you can actually vanish in the middle of combat. Although, be careful if you're doing that against real opponents, as the moment you get hit, you're gonna get knocked out of stealth, and that just kind of seems crummy, especially with an 8-second cooldown. So, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these characters' stats.
Alright.
I'm not going to read them off like I used to, however, I will still hit benchmarks so you can take a look.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose
And
a
at level
talent.
30.
Choose a talent.
The shadows part.
So, simple enough. At level 30, these are your damage numbers.
Endoral Anuminor.
Wish that, like, they have a reset
Choose a
talent
talent.
buttons. I wish they had a reset the dummy
My
button.
blades are ready.
And here you can see just her damage per second. So as you can see, you're sitting at a little below, or a little above 500, I should say. I was going to say a little below 550, but basically the same number at this point. Quick, fast,
I carve
and
my
agile,
own path.
which you can see here from her attack speed. Now let's go ahead and start taking a look at these talents. So her first talent is a quest. Simple and available. Valeera generates additional energy every second. After gathering globes, your maximum energy increases. Energy is how you use your abilities. All your abilities have an energy cost. So energy is very useful. Subtlety. After remaining vanished for at least 4 seconds, you regenerate additional energy per second for the next 5 seconds after using one of your vanish abilities. Combat readiness. Each combo point grants you 50% damage against a single attack, and you can charge them up. Pretty useful in fights, but I've said before, you never want to take a defensive talent. You want to be pushed into taking a defensive talent. And finally, you have crippling poison. It's a slow, activatable 15-second cooldown. So we're going to go ahead and just take the quest because it's easy. At level 4, Relentless Strike reduces energy cost of Sinister Strike by 10. Hemorrhage. Basic attacks deal additional 25% against enemies who've been hit by the garrote and are under the effect. So that's a 7-second, 25% hit bonus. Initiative. Ambush, Cheap Shot, and Garrote award 2 combo points instead of just 1. Not a bad start. It allows you to just jump in with a Garrote,
That gives me an idea.
Sinister Strike, and then Eviscerate for the full damage. And then finally, Wound Poison reduces healing, same as the previous poison. Activatable 15-second cooldown. I like Hemorrhage personally. It's additional damage, and Hemorrhage is just kind of a great one to jump in. If you're going to be picking somebody off in the back, you're probably picking off a healer or somebody who has some ability to get in there and fuck up your team. Well, hell, no, you can't. You're silenced. You can't do anything. By the way, I just stabbed your liver. It tastes delicious.
Choose a talent.
At level 7, we have Mutilate. Sinister Strike now hits with both blades, dealing 100% additional damage, but its range is reduced. It's a pretty short range attack, so it doesn't really affect it too heavily, but it does double its damage, which isn't bad. Another quest, Fatal Finesse. Each time Blade Fury damages an enemy hero, increases it. After you've damaged 20, reduce its cost by 20, which is half. Slice and Dice. Eviscerate on enemies with 3 combo points. Causes your next 3 attacks to hit really, really fast. And Assassinate. Ambush deals bonus damage if there are no other heroes around. If we take this,
Choose a talent.
you can see that skeleton, which represents Assassinate capability.
Good idea.
Here we have her heroic ability, Smoke Bomb.
Choose a talent.
Smoke Bomb's a nice one. It allows you to just drop a smoke bomb. Sounds interesting. Well, in Smoke Bomb,
Hope you like
you are invisible. However, you do have access to your visible skills
Alright.
because you're not in Vanish, although the enemy can't see you. So if we're to come over here,
Into the shadows.
you can continue to attack without them really hitting you. Do note, however, combo
The
points,
shadows.
as you can see, aren't awarded on
You're smoking your eye.
minions. They are
Cold
for
short teeth.
heroes only, so
Into the shadows.
do be careful. I personally like to use Smoke Bomb as a disengage, as you saw. Go ahead and get the minion wave started so I can kind of show you. Valeera is not actually that good for going in with too much as an actual combat hero. Yes, you can Blade Fury and take out a nice group, but
Let's cut forward.
you get into a fight you don't want, Smoke Bomb, and just get out of there. Continuing. Elusiveness increases movement speed while vanished by an additional 10%. That puts it to 20, which is basically mounted speed. Death from Above. Ambush now has a range of 6 and teleports you. Blind. When Cheap Shot expires, your victim is now blinded. Remember, Cheap Shot is the stun. And Garrote reduces spell power by 25% for 7 seconds. Strangle does sound great, but remember that 7 seconds with a 2.25 second silence, so you're getting only about 5 of those seconds are useful. And if you have that bonus 25% damage, they're probably not surviving. What I like to do is, if you've taken Assassinate, go with Death from Above. However, if you've taken Hemorrhage, you should be taking Elusiveness, because Elusiveness allows you to become invisible and sneak behind. I'm doing this awkward thing with my hands where I'm like placing a hand and then drawing a circle. So like, yeah, sneak behind. You can't see any of that. I do apologize for that. But with Elusiveness, you do get bonus movement speed, which allows you to sneak up behind somebody and start to take out sensitive members of the party. At level 16, we have Seal Fate. Sinister Strike deals 50% damage and generates an additional combat point when used against a silence, rooted, or stunned enemy. Remember, 2 of your abilities do silence and or root. Rupture. Garrote basic attacks against enemies that are increase the damage over time effect of Garrote by 5%. Stacks up to 30. It also refreshes duration. And remember, Hemorrhage is while they're being affected by it. So Rupture basically makes Hemorrhage last forever. Expose Armor. Viscerate enemies with all 3 combo points, causes them to take 25% more damage. And Thistle Tea, basically mana restoration. I like Rupture. It worked great with Hemorrhage.
Choose a talent.
And,
All right.
I mean,
My blades are ready.
as you can see here, I can just kind of sit around and just keep stabbing. I'm going to go ahead and read, and you can just kind of see the crit number just keeps coming up. So, at level 20, we have Adrenaline Rush. When Smoke Bomb's active, you regenerate additional energy per second. It's nice. I don't personally like it because, as I said, most of the time I use Smoke Bomb, I'm using it as a disengage, not as a combat. So, oh yeah, for an Assassinate, jump in, drop it, stab somebody's great, but I'd much rather use it as an emergency GTFO. And with that, extra energy doesn't help me. However, Night Slayer reduces the cooldown advantage by 3 seconds, drops it to 5 seconds, does help my personal build. Now, of course, your build be different. Adrenaline Rush is nice in combat, but there's just something about Night Slayer. It gives you fast and quick vanish. It's personally one of my favorite abilities for her. I'm going to go ahead and reset the talents and build a slightly different build.
Choose a talent.
Going to go with some activatable abilities. We'll go with the Assassinate and Cloak of Shadows.
Choose a talent.
So as you can see,
Shadows invalid.
just a couple of seconds, removes all damage over time effects. You become unstoppable. You gain 75% spell reduction. And it doesn't break vanish, so you know, like, yeah, oh, you can continue fighting with it. More than nothing, it's basically just removes dots. So if you're having trouble staying alive, this is a pretty nice one.
Choose a talent.
let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Thistle Tea. I'm
a
working on
talent.
activatables here. And then finally at level 20, Envelop Shadows. When Valeera uses Vanish, she also gains Cloak of Shadows. So, it basically
That
means
gives
that
me an idea.
whenever you vanish, you also gain the ability of the Cloak of Shadows, which removes damage over times and reduces your spell damage taken by 75%. With this build, you have a lot of survivability, although not a lot of poke. So what you would want to do is double drop your 1 and 2, which then sets them there. They do not activate until after you've
The
used them,
shadows part.
and then you just ambush. Tons of damage. You go in fast. So if we turn off cooldowns real quick, you drop them, hit hard. You see they're under cooldown, but this guy's healing less and slower, not going to get away. You can throw out a couple of abilities. You drop your Thistle Tea. That's not a bad number of damage just to have gotten in the last couple of seconds. Although this is not my personal play style, I have been wrecked by Valeeras who run this concept. They jump in. They don't even go to kill you. They jump in, slow you down, stop you from healing, and then one of their teammates, usually in my situation, a Nova, pop, snipe, you're dead. Fuck off, you're gone. And yeah, like that's the crippling poison and the wounding poison pretty much makes it impossible for you to ever get away. And as I showed, you can apply it with your ambush. Boom. A good team up, you can kill someone. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I hope you enjoyed Valeera, and let's go ahead and get up here. I'm going to try to keep this portion. I hope you enjoyed my talk on Valeera.
Alright.
I hope this helps you understand some of her talents and some of her abilities. And have a wonderful day. Bye.